So now that we have our slices all created, now we can go ahead and optimize them. And what that means is we'll use a compression setting for each section that works best for that particular section. So the compression that we use on the nav bar, which has got solid colors and text, is probably not going to be the best compression for this image or for these gradient areas. So let's just get started and I'll show you what I mean. So you go to Save for Web and Devices. Be sure to look at the 4UP view, which is going to let you do a little bit of trial and error just by testing different settings in different windows. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these one at a time. So I clicked on Slice 1 and you can see that it's outlined. You can hold down the space bar and move it if you want to see more of it. And right now what I've got is the maximum JPEG setting, 100% quality. That makes this one slice 101K. That's really huge for the web. So I'm going to take this down to about, I'll try 51 quality. That's usually pretty good. We're down to 31K. Still looks pretty good, and always compare it to the original. So this is the original, this is the current optimized version. And as I look at that, I'm even going to enlarge it a little bit just to see some detail. Space bar, move that. This image, they both look pretty good at this point. So I'm going to go down even a little bit further. Let's go down to say 30 quality. Still, this looks pretty good. I'm not seeing too many problems happening, but I have a hunch that there is going to be a problem down here. And so here, if you look at the text, you'll see it's getting that mottled look that's caused by low compression, low JPEG compression quality in a solid color area. So it should be a nice solid blue, and we're getting that cottage cheesy kind of look. So I'm going to have to actually compress this image high enough that this text looks pretty good. That's still a little bit. I think I'm going to leave it at 51. That looks pretty decent. So that's done. It's 31K. If you remember, it was 101K when we started. So we're down to 31K on that slice. Now, all of these navbar slices, if we do them as a JPEG, so at maximum quality, this is 3.7K. We'll try it at 51, which is what worked pretty well for that other one. And I use 51 because there's a big drop off in the compression between 51 and 50. So that if you watch, right now we have 51, this is 1.26K. When we drop down to 50, it's going to be a pretty dramatic drop in quality there. 1.3. At any rate, it's not as easy to see on one of these little small images, but take my word for it, 51 is a pretty good breaking point. Alright, so it doesn't look too bad, but we're going to try something else. You can see down here it's starting to look really funky at 25 quality. So I'm going to just, as a comparison, take this slice and do it as a GIF. And now, as a GIF, it's 479 bytes, which is less than half the size of this. And actually, if you look at the evenness of the background color, it looks much better than this. And even the text itself looks better. And this is a GIF with only 16 colors. So this looks like it's going to work pretty well for our nav bar, this GIF 16. So since all of these are essentially the same, I'm going to do my shift click routine again, select everything in the nav bar. So again, space bar gives me the hand to slide that, shift, space bar, slide it, shift click. Okay, so now I have all these selected. I'm going to turn them into GIFs, 16. They all look pretty good, and the total for the whole nav bar is only 3.16K. So that's looking good. Let me go back up here, and now we need to deal with these two guys. So I'll select that one. JPEG maximum looks great, but it's 9K. I'm going to knock this down to, let's try medium, which is 40. I think it's 30. Okay. So at 30 quality, if we're going to see any trouble, it would be here in these solid areas, and that looks pretty good. There might be a little banding showing up here, so I'm going to try maybe going to 40 with this. Still, there's a little bit of a band there, so let's try 51 again, which we liked the last time we did it. Okay, 51 looks pretty good. I'm going to do this one at 51 JPEG, and then the other one next to it, same, very similar. So let's do the same thing with that, 51. Alright, so now I've got everything that I need, and we're ready to save it. So let's just finish up. Now that we have all the slices optimized, we're going to save them, and what we're going to do is I've got a folder on the desktop called Sirens that I'm going to put them into so I know where they are. I'm going to change the name to Sirens 3 because I've been testing a couple of different things here, so we'll call it that. And then I have to look at a couple other things. So we're going to use settings other, which means that we get to pick what we want. So HTML, we're going to check output XHTML. Let's go to next, and we'll go to slices, and we're going to generate CSS, not a table. And we're going to name the slices sirens underscore and then slice number, so 1, 2, 3. And then let's go to next. We're not going to worry about this background image right now. That'll be for another time. And now how do we want to save the files? So I'm going to just save them by the slice name. And we don't really need anything else. Nothing else. Obviously, as these things get more complicated, you may need to name them a little bit differently if you're using rollover states and so on. But in this case, just a slice name is going to be adequate. That'll give us all we need. That takes us back to the beginning, so we're okay. I'm going to say that's the name of my file. That's settings I just created. Save it. Alright, so now it's going to be on my desktop. Here it is, Sirens. And notice there's the HTML file, and here's a folder called Images, and inside of it are my various slices. 1, 2, 3. You can see some of them are GIF images, so these are all my navbar. And these are the two content areas. This is the big image at the top. And actually, if you want to see what it looks like, just drag this down to the browser. Where is the browser? There we go. And in the browser, you see we've got our actual page the way we wanted it with these various images. So that's all we're going to do for now. We've got, if we look at view source, you can see it's set up as a group of divs with an image in each one. And there's some other things we could do with this to make it actually even a little bit more useful, but we're not going to do that now. So for now, we're done.